Party. They're in the city, in a park. People gather from all across the countryside, and there are individuals there carrying wooden boxes. They used to be filled with soap. Now they're empty. And the individuals turn those boxes upside down so they can stand on them to speak to the crowd in the park. And there are half a dozen or so. They stand up on the boxes and they begin speaking to the crowd. Some talking about ancient religion and texts of past deities and pantheons that have been forgotten. Um, Another one speaks about a change in the local regime. Maybe there's a magistrate, barrister, viscount speaking against the nobility, those in authority, and asking people to rise up. Yet another one is speaking to the elders to teach the young ones skills to bring them into this world, to give them at least some knowledge that they can take with them as they travel this wider world, a concept never heard of during the elders age. But today maybe those young people are thinking to not carry on their legacy and somehow carry this on. Maybe there's another person speaking to others to empower them, if only they would give of themselves to a greater force beyond time and space, and recruiting for a cult. But today, the reason why I say these things is because today is the day of the podium, and again, like every day on this channel, we take a concept unscripted, and we're just going to use this for mind fuel for our tabletop role playing experiences, because today is the day of the podium. Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today is the day of the podium. And um, as we were talking this week, I didn't want to just talk about entertainment, the classic fantasy bard. I wanted to really talk about the idea that the concept of the bard, I believe, is too small, but the idea of influencing a population, a people, and sometimes the goal of some of our big bads is power, to take over. And one of those concepts in taking over any community is charisma, influence, the ability to shape perception, to alter the course of society, or sometimes just to convince people to stroke our own egos, and to have a sycophants wrapped around us. Hey, JAL, hey, what's going on there? Red Dice Diary says, in my last easy D6 session, an easy D6, you got to pick up that game anyway. Rules light system, rules get out of the way for the adventure and stuff. That easy D6 and the tiny D6 engine from Gallant Games. But anyway, in my last Easy D6 session, we had the town mayor giving a speech to the people on a soapbox when one of the PCs leapt up and laid out his case for being a better mayor. A few days later, he won the election. And I love stuff like that. And mind you, this could be the impetus for an adventure hook. Influential people affecting the community. This could be something in the background, just PCs go through town, go through the city park. They see people literally standing on soapboxes, which is where that term came from. You're always on your soapbox, which is literally a box that used to be filled with soap. But that or something similar to it could be used in your world. And the beginnings of a cult could start with literally one recruit, and then it spreads throughout your world. Could you imagine players starting at first level, your beginning characters, and then when they gain power, they hear in the background this nobody starts garnering attention, and they start gathering um, a group of like-minded individuals around them for whatever reason. I just saw the second trailer to a movie that's going to come out about Napoleon, and it's a cautionary tale of a hero and a villain, right? Like where you have someone who comes from I don't know much history about Napoleon, but it gives me the idea that we can use for our games where you have, no offense, but a nobody in terms of fantasy and medieval. Hey, everyone it's a caste system, right? The lowly people stay in your one spot, and then the higher up stay somewhere else, and someone a rebellious youth comes up and starts gaining. We love ourselves rebels until they want to depose where we are stated and rise above our levels, and all of a sudden as human beings you're like, wait a minute, wait, you better slow your horses. Hey, relax there, kid. You can't you can rise high but not too high. you know it's the Red Dice says, yep, was pretty unexpected, but the PCs leveraged their reputation, plus leaning on their local nobles to get the win. And there's also the idea that of unwanted attention, and I don't mean we love ourselves a classic like heroes being hunted, or another story trope, heroes being framed for a crime. But there's actually, be careful what you wish for. Very influential heroes may have attention, positive attention, um, fans, sycophants, hangers on, rubberneckers. What do you call? What's another one for highway? When something happens on the highway, gawker delay. When passersby look over and they go, "Ooh, look at their muscles," or isn't that the wizard that defeated the great blue dragon in the south or something? And these people, the PCs are like doing their heist. They're trying to sneak around, and all of a sudden, the city guard like, who goes there? And the PCs are like, you don't see us. And the guard's like, oh, I know you. Hey, can I get your autograph? Hold on. I'm gonna call a friend of mine. He pulls out his horn, something like that. So having attention and influence over people can be good and bad. um on its surface, hey, being able to go into town and everyone thinks you're a hero, but unfortunately, maybe you can't do sneaky things that the player characters really want to do. Also, our bad guys, right? Especially if our bad guys have a number of lieutenants, which I think is an underserved thing. Um, the lieutenants of our bad guys tend to do all the grunt work. The evil lich is great. The evil lich is real powerful. La la la. I got a stat block. But when that lich has like 3 to 5 lieutenants that have to go out into the communities and convince the community that it's okay to give your loved ones over to be uh, uh, a necromancer's undead army or something. It takes a lot of grunt work to convince people to uh, um, to live on forever and have their bodies reanimated, right? But it can happen. It might take a lot of time or influence, money, threats, bribery, or the greatest gift of all to convince people is FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, why are all these other people um, gaining benefits and I'm not? And also trying to change people's minds. Listen, social media is full of people trying to change other people's minds. And then all that does really is cement our own thoughts. It becomes like an echo chamber. So bad guys telling people what they want to hear, giving people benefits to a thing instead of having to delay it. The faster you receive a benefit, the easier it is to convince people than delaying it for 50 years. It, you know, Ask someone, if you give me $1, I'll give you $1 million in 30 years. Or you ask someone, give me $1, I'll give you $20 in 10 minutes. Some people might take that $20 first. Druden says, sadly, in reality, it's not that easy to sway people just with a speech. Usually it requires connections to even have the platform to be heard. Um, You're absolutely right. And oftentimes, the greatest skill people have in manipulating individuals is finding leverage. And to be honest with you, there's a rule. Um, there's a game called leverage, and there's a rule in the game that's, if I'm not mistaken, that says that in order for a player to use their charm, their use someone's convictions against them, to basically manipulate someone using persuasion, charisma, intimidation, or something, that you must gain leverage before you can do it. So, in other words, the players must find the thing that would convince the person to agree to whatever they're saying. And so finding leverage is very common when it comes to, say, politics. Usually that leverage is fear, which turns to anger, or it could be promises of something that benefits them. Very personal, very narcissistic, personal. Like, how do I benefit from it? Oh, I don't care what your agenda is, but how do I benefit from joining your group? Um, Also, pointing out other people's deficiencies hides the deficiencies I may have if I point out my enemy's deficiencies first. You know, hey, they're a liar. Like, and what's the act of, like, if I point out a lie to someone else, apparently I'm telling the truth. Well, not necessarily, but it does work that way. Drew says, looking at Colts, I think it might. Oh, excuse me. Looking at Colts, I think it might not be that difficult to convince people that they can gain some spiritual benefits and give up this life. We have people who are already trying to do that on their own. If you can find like-minded individuals, and again, FOMO, fear of missing out, sometimes people fall into a group because they don't want to be left out of that group. Despite despite the ridiculousness of that group, sometimes people want to be part of that group. The more fear-based someone makes, oh, you need to watch out for the nobles because they're vampires, or you need to drink this concoction, don't you? Look at all the testimonies of the other people that drank the same concoction, and look how beautiful and unaging they are. You want to drink the same concoction too? And they're like, well, it's a little expensive. And then you're looking around like, but I don't want to miss out on it. I think I will spend my last 18 gold pieces that it took me 3 months to gather together. Red Dice says, I think cults have some specific tactics to indoctrinate people, and often they pick on those who are already vulnerable to such tactics. Absolutely. I can imagine the day of the podium happening after during the aftermath of something that happened, weather event, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, a plague, um, famine, war. These people will pop up and go, oh, they're lacking money and money and resources, food. They're exhausted. They haven't even processed their own grief. They're trying to rebuild their lives. They're trying to take care of their loved ones at the same time. And then, boom, here comes somebody who's charismatic and says, "I'll take away that pain from you. I will on my shoulders. I will take the responsibilities that you have." And when that person is there, I like to alleviate that pain even for a little bit. The End King says, I did not have interactions with that tavern girl who was secretly a succubus. Yeah, that wasn't me. Hey. Red Dice says, yeah, it sounds like a presidential speech. Hells yes. Also, I want to say, on the day of the podium, this may be an opportunity for, like, you can lay the groundwork for some of your very charismatic big bad evil guys, and not have maybe you haven't even decided which one is going to be which bad guy you're going to pick. Like, for example, there could be the charismatic cult of necromancy that's like, move on to the other life, the other world. You don't want to go into Planescape. I mean, you hey, we've gotten rid of alignment. You don't have to go there. Live here in the prime material plane forever. I know it would be voiced that way, but to think that someone is immortal is that their life could live on. Hey, even after you pass, you can be around for your loved ones. Imagine that, watching over your loved ones as they fall asleep. There you are eternally. Don't you want to be that way? Offering people things that only the nobility have, right? Hey, I've got a cache of gold. If you do these things for me, I will ensure that your family lives like kings and queens, but I need your services. And the person goes, I would, and these are good people, right? I'd sacrifice myself for my family, sure, if that's what it takes, things like that. So, yeah, the Ant King says, if you have a budding politician in your adventuring party, yes, the day of the podium could be motivation for you to get to a certain town by next month. Exactly. Saying the right things, doing the right things. And a lot of politicians are surrounded by their entourage, which those could be henchmen and such. If you have players that are interested in uh what's the recent release from WotC, Bastion play. The idea that as a player character gets to a certain level of experience, that they create a fortification, a stronghold, a church, a thieves guild, a wizard's tower, and rule a land. It could start from the very beginning. you it's not just defeating monsters, it's getting the attention of the masses and getting them to your side and going, yeah, I think they should be risen up in the ranks or something, especially if you have um, a society that doesn't allow upward mobility very much. The player characters could be involved in it. Heck, any player character that has a noble background, what a great way to include them. Hey, listen, I know you have a noble background, but you should role play this. You need to speak to the people because they need to arm themselves against the hordes that are rising to the north or something. And the people might just be like, we haven't been attacked by. Look, my entire generation wasn't attacked. It doesn't matter that they've been attacking every millennium. None of us have seen an attack, so whatever. And that's a reality, right? Most people think, well, if I don't see the thing, it doesn't exist. And the player characters go, no, there really is evil, beyond the wall to the north. Game of Thrones, of course, or any other thing, right? Hey, there's going to be incursions through a portal, and on the day the stars and moon align, that's when the portal will open, and you need to be prepared. And the people go, whatever, you're just fear mongering, you know. Watsy said, "Oh, Watsy made their own homebrew for Matt Koval strongholds. How cool of them!" Yes, and listen, I like the idea of creating like um, the bastion play. They calling them bastions, but I like the idea of creating fortifications and having a player character retire, but then you get to play the people under them or their kids or individuals, and putting that into a land. We did that with Greyhawk back in my teenage years, where we literally put fortifications on the Greyhawk map, and our player characters became nobles and legendary and such, and we played other characters that served under them and such. But you got to admit, like, one of the weird things is like, why are they using Bastion points? Why not just use gold? They're not. Fifth edition doesn't do anything else with gold. I don't know why they just didn't use gold, but I get it. Drew says the day of the podium might be followed by the day of imprisonment, since the people spoke. The tyrant knows who might become dangerous. Exactly, exactly. I mean, now Truish, maybe on the day of the podium, like I took one of these open things. Whenever I make my thumbnails, of course, I use Canva, so they use a lot of like um, open licensed materials. And like this image, it's possible on the day of the podium that it's encouraged for people to speak up, right? It may be the day that people have been holding things back, and the nobility is like, no, 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 no. You say all the things you want. No, don't hold back. Don't worry about me. This is about freedom of speech until tomorrow, right? And like, wow, there were 17 speakers. It's weird. 36 people disappeared. Not that doesn't happen in real life. Yeah, around the world, right? Now, it's possible that moving away from the darkness of killing off your political enemies, the most charismatic of which you'd want to get rid of, in my specific totalitarian regime. There, it could also be a tradition. It could be the day that people get to speak up about their community, and in a very, let's go with the alignment thing, right? In a very um, chaotic or neutral society, people that speak up that normally wouldn't, having individuals express themselves openly without ramifications might just be tradition. It might be the day that, oh, the greatest ideas of this community come from this day, and the ones that draw the most attention, these are our new leaders, or these are the ones that move and shake. It doesn't necessarily need to be political in the sense of controlling a population. It could be philosophical. It could be arguing about philosophy and the greater world. Imagine the player characters come back from traveling the planes. By the way, I just received my box set of Planescape. I'm reading through it. Uh, I'm falling positive on it, and I see what they did. That's a weird twist, but I like what they did. Anyway, players travel the multiverse. When they come back, they might have to not have to. There may be other travelers that want to share their stories with the population. It could be storytelling. It could be um, rethinking the very foundations of reality. It could be not necessarily overthrowing a government. It could be just talking about government itself. Hey, here in the States, but before be, during the 13 colonies and their development, we had people who wanted to create a constitution. Well, before that happened, there were lots of people writing things down and going like, well, what should it say? Well, how should we say it? How should we form a new government? Could you imagine the player characters traveling with refugees from a destroyed world? They show up on the shores of a distant land, and now they have to talk about how a new society is going to be formed. And sure, maybe the players don't want to be part of the forming of a new government, but when things start to go downhill, and you have your first criminals like thieves or murderers, you have the first time that you have enough supplies for 10 people, but you got to feed 15. Who decides who gets what? One person raises their hand. Well, the most able-bodied. Somebody else raises their hand. Well, the ones that are the most intelligent, because we have the skills like carpentry and divining for water and hunting. Somebody else raises their hand. Oh, the youngest should have the first, because they're going to be our new. They're going to be the generation, not us older people. And the PCs are like, I don't know. Let's talk about it. Right? Yeah, hell yeah. Juice is great. No, I want people to rap on the day of the podium, the style of the Hamilton musical. Yes. I heard mathematically that the Hamilton musical has 5 times as many words in it as any other play of its length. Like the word play was so dense in it that even people who are playwrights had to like, wait. I got to rewind that again. What did they say again? Yeah, that's kind of cool. I heard that statistic. I can't remember where I heard it from. It might have been like a behind the scenes or making of Hamilton or something like that. Red Dice says, well, my player's main goal at the minute seems to be accumulating influence in town so they can set up this distillery and vineyard. Hell, well, listen, may seem petty, but there's a reason why we have town halls when we want to rezone particular locations, even if it's for a good thing. Here in the Ohio Valley, we're going through the great greening, um, turning medicinal marijuana and weed into recreational, and it keeps coming up on the ballot here over and over again. I'm pretty sure it's going to go through soon if there's a lot of money behind it. Heck, there's a distillery across from my postal job. There's distilleries. I'm not distilleries, dispensaries everywhere. But yeah, homeowners associations require influence and standing up and saying, "Hey, we need to cut down the bushes around Old Man Jennings' house." And the Old Man Jennings is like, "I love my bushes," and like, "Yeah, but you have them shaped into phallic symbols. We need to cut those down." And he's like, "I like my phallic. I mean, my rounded bushes. Red Dice says, you say whatever you want. The man in black with the blowpipe, oh, you carry on and pay no attention to him. Ow! Something bit me on my neck. Right? That's a thing. Oh man. One eye heathen says, I imagine a day of the podium would be a great opportunity for character development. Yeah. Let's say the PCs are expected by the locals to speak. Each PC would advocate for opinion or worldview. I love that. I love that idea. And Bardic rap battles. And this is also Bardic rap battles. Hell yeah. Uh yeah, the the thief gets up there and is like, yeah, I'm just a real hypocrite, low life, male chauvinistic, sexist sleazebag. My best characteristic, I'm a pathological liar. My father wouldn't trust me. Shoot, if I was you, I'd arrest me. Even I disgust me. Got problem with my homework when I was younger. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, go on and so on. But yeah, it could be thing like, for example, maybe some players listen. Public speaking is like one of the top 10 all-time fears around the world. Like if you do a Google search for top 10 fears, it's like spiders, falling, drowning, public speaking. That's a thing. Maybe some of the player characters are scared to speak up and might be forced to because someone else comes in and goes, that old hag, the shape change, like, I see. They're scared to get on a podium. Let me speak for them. I'll speak for you, right? And then there's like, wait a minute. Are we the kings or are we king makers or are we being manipulated? Yeah, is this a worm tongue situation, right? And yeah, straight out of Sigil. Exactly. Oh man, or Sigil. Oh, I hate that. Anyway, but yeah, be pretty funny. Now, to be honest with you, most, if not all, of our shape changing enemies out there would probably do something like this. A ton of your fiendish creatures, beings, charismatic people would absolutely, positively want to speak up on the day of the podium, right? That's kind of, I mean, how else are you going to use your shape changing abilities to the best effect? Your charming abilities, and mind you, without magic. I'm talking about uh, someone who can garner the attention of many others. And listen, there's a game being played in this as well. The fake humbleness, where it's like, oh no, I don't want to speak, but since you ask, and then of course they have like a prepared speech in their back pocket they've been carrying around for months. Yeah. And King says, you were in a role there. I was going to say certain things. It's not a song I made up. Those were lyrics from a group called the UMCs. I can't remember. Back in the late 80s, early 90s or so. It's 35 years old or something. It just came to mind. Anyway, but yes. And if you think about it, I know it's silly, but the idea of rap battles in the first place was the when in ghettos, sometimes you don't have very many supplies of anything, musical instruments, places to physically work out, not many books. So what you have is just what you have. You have what you have on your body and your clothes. And so how do you navigate the social strata? Well, there are different ways to do it. You use it with your voice. Sometimes you do it with your body actions. Sometimes you do it with and so that's how hip hop became what it was. It was about being able to use spoken words and a little bit of yo mama jokes, a bit of braggadocio of I'm better than everybody, I'm getting out of here. And so rap battles were about coming up with something on the top of your head. The idea of the freestyle doesn't really exist like that anymore. But the original freestyle was I have to rhyme things in my head about my opponent to put them down, come up with new categories while I'm already speaking about a category in front of me. And that's a very difficult thing to do, even though it can be a little bit janky sometimes when you hear it. But there's a guy named Harry Mack that does that. Big YouTube channel, and he'll just go into a crowd and says, "Hey, throw me some random words," and then he starts to rap off the top of his head by using the words that were given to him, and he's got to both speak one thing and think something else. Sometimes I have to do that. I I have to do that now sometimes because as I talk, I actually have to read the chat so I don't have too much dead air. So I don't want to stop talking to read. I have to get my thoughts together while I'm reading something else. So it's like two things happening at the same time. It's a difficult skill, but yeah. Juices, I certainly have social anxiety, and that includes public speaking, but somehow I can GM for strangers just fine. Sometimes people have the opposite of that. Like some of our greatest entertainers have an easier time in front of thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people because it's a miasma. It's a smoke screen of sorts. There's no one face. It's just a blend. But in a small group of people, comedians and singers and stuff, when they have like maybe 5 dozen, they're just like paralyzed. And those individuals become very popular because it's like speaking in front of a crowd's no big deal. But speaking in front of just a few people or even your friends and family could be like, heart palpitations. I've purposely put myself on stages and speak in front of people on purpose because I used to be paralyzed. I used to stutter so much. And I overcame it. Plus I learned new techniques to stop myself from stuttering because I would stop on a word. So when I used to read thesauruses and stuff, I would try to find other words to get the words out. And so you'll often see me use like 2 or 3 words to say the same thing. It's unconscious, but yeah. When I heathen says, might be interesting for powerful beings to walk around in disguise looking for those with potential. Yep. Or at least similar ideas might be a good quest giver. That's a great idea to hide your big bad evil because listen, the minute a vampire lord steps up on a soapbox, a PC is going to put an arrow in his or her eye, right? That's going to happen. But someone who is like a recruiter, a coach, a political analyst, they're like, I don't know how to speak in front of people, but I know how to recruit people who are very good at speaking in front of people. And how great would it be for a fiend to find mortal human beings who are extremely charismatic? And the fiend is like, I'm not putting myself in danger. And honestly, if I start talking, I'm gonna like burn folks. So if I just find someone else to speak for me and give them gifts and take care of their families, I mean, heck, we see that today with terrorist groups, right? Sometimes the one that speaks, the charismatic one that sends the messages out, there's a worm tongue in the background going, oh, tell people this thing. You be the face of the thing. Um, um, Corporations will do that they will literally place people on a high pedestal to speak for a company, knowing that they're stealing people's money and their livelihood, and then when that person goes down, they're like, I didn't know, and the person who really did all the crimes is like, off to my private island, thank you. Right? When I heathen says such a being might even test each PC's philosophy by way of making them run through quests. Like the day of the podium is the start of an entire campaign. It could be, the day of the podium could be laying out the groundwork for what they expect their heroes to be. The community could say, listen, we won't support you unless we see people who are, and you start laying things down, honorable, and we'll return to our community and we'll support our endeavors and we'll do. And the PCs might go, oh, they want us to go to the mountains and the swamps and the desert. Oh, okay, I will stand in front of everyone. And sometimes people's word is bond, right? You say something in front of a crowd, people are going to believe it and hold you to it. And the player characters might hey, that noble knight might not be as noble a knight as we think, but when they stand in front of everyone and speak, they're like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to have to keep this promise because I'm scared. Yep. I I'm gonna put this up there because I don't want to truly make this a political show, but it is emblematic, right? Why I have a problem with all politicians. It's like, yeah, the most humble person would be Donald Trump because he will tell you so himself. That's a thing that politicians and Drew's across the pond to let everybody know. But yes, politicians, literally the job function of a politician is for them to tell you how humble and how undeserving they are of the position that they want, right? Because they will tell you all the time, and you just roll your eyes like, oh, snake oil salesman, like really. The fact that people eat it up just boggles my mind. um yeah. When I even says freestyle, look up interior crocodile alligator. It's entertaining. There's a recent one released by Coast Contra, breathe and stop freestyle. It's not a real freestyle, um, but breathe and stop is like 9 minutes long, 4 members. It's really great because if you read the lyrics, there's so many double and triple and quadruple entendres. It's crazy. And there's another individual that did a 10-minute nonstop freestyle. Um, Black Thought from the Roots did a 10-minute freestyle, and there people tried to break down the lyrics. And I mean, there's like 45-minute lyrics breakdowns of some of the greatest lyricists and stuff. Yeah. Coast Contra is a great group, a young group that's kind of old school and very much lyricist. I don't listen to anything except lyrical stuff, and someone put me onto them on Coast Contra, and it that's their name. It sounds like what I'm saying: coast like coastal, and contra like opposites, contradiction. Yeah. Um, on the day of the podium, also, it could be the day that we expose the factions that want to have power within whatever situation. Like Red Dice Dyers brought up the idea of like in extra planar, um like Iran Contra. Yes, exactly like that. Yes, Coast Contra. I don't know if they're taking weapons, having weapons paid for by crack sales and cocaine sales in the states to fund it, but something similar. No, I wouldn't accuse him of that. But Red Dice Dyers brought up the fact of like extra planar beings coming around. There could be factions that are exposed that the player characters are unaware of. And it could be done by someone speaking up. Like, for example, a person speaks up like, there's too much crime in the city. The I don't know, the fist of the Bloody Rose or something has been an underground society here for generations, and we must get rid of them. And the PCs are like, I've never heard of them, but I'm glad you put it on our radar, because then when the player characters see that group again, it's like, oh, great adventure hook. Um, the day of the podium may be a day when, heck, the literal quest giver, soapbox turned upside down, step up on top of it, reads a decree, asks for adventurers. PCs are like, I don't like that adventure hook. I want to go back to running my tavern. And then other people step up and go, well, if you're not going to take the adventure hook, I sure will. Rip phone number from bottom of a piece of paper that gets stapled to the to a blackboard or something. And the PCs are like, ooh, we don't want them to get the thing. So now you're so funny. Oh my God, it's 5:40. You made me late, TPJ. You're good at podium speaking. I wish I was. I really wish I was. Um, the idea um, that a someone says something that garners uh, opposition to what the players desire, and now the players are pulled into it simply because somebody else wants to do the thing, latches onto the adventure hook, and now the PCs are latched on the adventure hook, not because they want to go, but now they gotta go because they're like, what a flaming sword, we can't let that group get it. you know the N King says 5e has backgrounds. One is noble, one is folk hero, one is charlatan. There should be a background called politician that combines the first and third in order to appear as the second. Yeah. Hell's yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I would love a player character to go, no, I'm a politician, and they write charlatan down on their character sheet. Yes, because it would be absolutely perfect for that. Making promises your ass can't cash. What it writing checks your ass can't cash, making promises you can't keep. Same thing. Thomas says, dang, it was I was up two and just spaced out. Oh, you're all right, man. Drew says, regarding politics, I think we should not be afraid to have that in the hobby. Like every art, our hobby should reflect deeper themes. To be honest with you, Drew, everything's political. Um, it's including the so-called idea of I don't want to have politics in a thing is a political stance unto itself. It's weird because most fantasy and science fiction deals with us taking a deeper look um, at society and economics and politics and culture and ethics and morality. And it's very weird here, especially here in the States, I guess around the world as well, that people have turned their politics into their religion. It's like you're not supposed to question it. I believe whatever they say. There whatever is said by my chosen political group is correct and cannot be denied. That's a really weird, like it's we like preach. Yeah. I mean, it's so bizarre. And the thing is, it's there's blatant physical hypocrisy being done by people, and I just find it so bizarre. For example, here in the States, we have a thing going on about it. Basically, we're having book burnings. They are getting rid of books. And I'm going, let's think of regimes that used to burn books and how did that turn out? Right? And you want to copy that? And you think burning a book is actually going to do any it's burning books, building walls. We've seen the end result of that. A, it doesn't work, and B, it doesn't work. It's weird. It's just a weird thing. And then the same people who are burning books are like, I don't understand why people are tearing down monuments. And I'm like, but you're trying to edit history just like the other side trying to edit history. You don't edit history. There's a reason why we have schools and libraries and institutions of knowledge. So what? It was dark and it was bad and it was evil and people did wrong things back then. It's gonna make me feel guilty. I can't feel guilt. I've got to rewrite history to make me the hero. And there's a reason why institutions of knowledge exist. It's so we can study those things and realize, hey, those people back then did bad things. How about we not do that? That's that's all it's about. The TA says the rent is too damn high, and the Bloody Rose cult is the main secret owner of all the housing in the Lower South District, in a secret war with the Toe Thumb cult. We must abolish them. Toe Thumbs? You weren't supposed to bring up the Toe Thumbs. Why? Because all of them, when they pull their socks off, their toe looks like a thumb. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, yes, but yes, I agree with you there, TA. Like maybe as the um the words being spoken are one message, but the what's between the lines, what's not being said might be just as important. Um, when the nobility allows the lower population to speak out, why are they letting them do that? Or are they letting them do that? Maybe they don't have as much influence as we thought they did. Or they're again, as like Drew said, maybe they're allowing them to speak because they're going to be murdered next time, right? Um, there's so many ramifications of public speaking that we have. There are some people who will martyr themselves. Hey, I'm going to speak up, knowing that I'm going to draw enemies to myself, um, and then those enemies will then, how do I say this? Someone speaks up as a decoy, as a draw, as someone knowing that the words that they're going to speak are going to last longer and spread, and then because of that, because of those words spreading, it's possible that oops, turn that down. Ooh. Because of the words being spread, that it'll draw the enemies out, and like a donut, the enemies focus on this individual speaking, and now the speaker's allies can sneak up behind the enemies and say, "You're being distracted. We knew you'd come out of the woodworks if we just put our head up." Right? Yeah. TA says, "Is it politics or the quantum superposition state of correctedness where people are often both wrong and right at the same time?" It could be. It could be. I disagree when people are adamant about a position that we know historically has always been fluid. Morality and ethics have always been fluid throughout history. Uh, at some point, and when none of we like to feel like we're the heroes of our own story, but we never answer the rest of that comment, which is we're the villain of everyone else's story. And in the future, I will be the villain of somebody else's story, and none of us like to feel like we're the villain. Yeah, yeah, you can't have a hobby without injecting politics. Yep, yep, yep. Something no one is asking is why the walls they build have to have a checkpoint where you get searched and questioned before leaving. Yeah. Well, you listen, you want to I mean there's a reason for a wall. I'm just saying walls don't work. I mean historically, Hadrian's wall, Great Wall of China, walls just don't walls don't work of any type. Um the gatekeeping in our own tabletop role playing community, it doesn't work. You just it doesn't you it's not like you build a wall once and it's like, oh, everyone stays on one side and I stay on the other. Nah, walls require a lot of upkeep and it requires a lot of like social anxiety to keep things out or keep people in, and it just doesn't work. Oh, shit. The monuments of Confederates are the ultimate examples of participation trophies. Ow. Ow. See, that's my point. That's I'm like, don't destroy it. I feel like those kind of things should be placed in museums. Because you lost. Sorry, you were trying to separate from the United States, and if you're American and you want to, you want to be yeah, you lost. Sorry. Yeah. She says, as for book banning, the ones I see being done that are not what they seem are the ones where they are just demanding the criteria is too adult for the kids they are actively teaching about. See, that's the whole point, right? Like it's like everybody wants to take things to the extreme, and historically, there is nothing extreme is good. I could eat the carrot diet, the grapefruit diet, the whatever the fuck, right? And it's like, yeah, you could, but and it will work for a short time, but after a while, because how many things kids shouldn't do have kids done, right? I remember the rent is too high. Damn toe thumbs. Calling about, yeah, the bloody rose, fist of the bloody rose. Rent's too high here anyway. Just sucks. TA says that is what Tim Pool is saying about speech. Yes, let them speak. I want to know who has these horrible ideas. The old "don't force it underground where it can fester like mold or fungus." Yeah, exactly. I may not be a Tim Pool agreeer, but I do agree with like, yeah, people have some dangerous things to say. I'd rather them say it out loud. That's why I love this era of like Karens and like um closet like racists and stuff coming out and saying the things that they really say. I'm like, I love this era because I'm like, just let me know. All you got to do is just let me know who you are. That's it. Just say it. Say it. Please say it. you know, and that's what I think the idea of the day of the podium could be. Um, it would be pretty interesting for some of our evil or so-called evil opponents or antagonists to say things that either doubles down on their evil and it's like PCs are like slow clapping, like, yep, I knew you were super evil. No one believed me, but I'm gonna get you on that podium and get you to say something. Or maybe there's goodly people. How interesting would it be for the commander of the Night's Watch, noble people, blah blah blah, smiting, killing evil, and come to find out that the leader's a raging racist. Like, it's like, no, I don't want to kill orcs because they're evil. I want to kill orcs because I just don't like orcs. Right. And like, yeah, but we're trying to sign a peace treaty. And like, they need to be eliminated. Genocide. I'm not too, you know what I mean? And so speaking all, and then everyone used to be like, yay. Wait, okay. I was with you for the first 30%, and now, ugh, ugh, right? Do the knights police themselves? Do they turn them over to the orcs who are going to torture them to death? Does the one orc that's been speaking at the podium go, see, told you where he was coming from, right? What? How does that happen? Tia says that, and the sunlight is the best disinfectant. UV rays. Yep, yeah. It says if you read the speech Hitler did back in August 15 of 1920, you see he had a lot of the talking points of the extremely woke crowd, though. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are just extreme today and don't. I understand if you're playing tug of war that you lose because if the other side is pulling the hardest they can, so you want to pull the hardest you can to try to stay in the middle, and so there's extremities. Except the win-win of that situation would be to put the rope down and just shake hands. I am gladly the villain of other people's story. You should be recognized by your enemies. Yeah. Walls work as long as by work you mean they keep honest people honest, just like door locks. One person's door lock is somebody else's cage, right? Um, you know, maybe somebody wants to have an open door. If they can't open it, it's a wall. It's not a door at all, right? And you're right. If someone's honest, sure, I agree with that. I agree with that. Although desperation pushes people to do desperate things, and understanding that. So yeah, it's people. Yeah, extremism is it's like it's the new. It's the our social media value is based on extremism, and so it's easy to fall into that to get across. It's difficult to get across complex ideas today because most of them don't fit into sound blocks or 140 characters, or they're not memeable. And today, that's example of that. When I heathen says the definition of extreme changes depending on the civilization, but I see your point and agree. Nobody does well eating absolutely no sugar whatsoever. Right. Yeah. 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 As an example. Yeah, it would be extremely impossible even meat and spinach has some sugars in them. Yeah, exactly. It's like low carbing diets. Like I'm trying to do a low carb, but it's like it's it, my wife stresses it and I'm like, but food is meant to have carbs in it. That's why being low carb is very difficult to do, but it's just about eating healthy. It's like you could go to the extreme, but then you lose nutrients. Right. It's exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Extremism gets the attention. If it bleeds, it leads. Yeah, exactly. Wave of mutilation. Hello there. When he then says, oh shit, the DOTP, it'd be an open license for people to say shit that is socially entirely unacceptable. I think all the elves should be killed in a genocide, then kill halflings and humans. Uh, yeah, he literally. Thank you. The day of the podium could be an open license for people to say shit is socially entirely unacceptable. I love that as well because traditionally it could be viewed as this is the day everybody gets to say the thing that they want to say, right? It's been sitting in your chest and you're like, fuck, I want to say this. And today is the day everyone just accepts. Go ahead and say it. You wanted to say that thing? Please go ahead and say that. Say the thing that you want to say. And now, from an outsider's point of view, they could get pissed off. Maybe the community is like, okay, we're done with it. You said what you need to say, and everyone goes about their business. And the PCs are like, didn't you just hear that? They're like, oh, no, yeah, we heard that. Aren't you upset? Aren't you going to do something about that? They're like, why? Data podium. We just listen to it, right? We don't do anything about it. We're just I mean, it could be that way. Um, like the thumbnail, it could be an open discussion where hey, if you're holding the talking stick, right, you get to say the thing that you want to say, and it would be pretty interesting to hear some pretty unacceptable shit come out of our heroes' mouths, and it would be interesting even for the evil, so-called evil people to double down and go, well, wait a minute, did you just say what you said? Yeah, blah 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 blah. And they're like, you do realize you could get what you want if you just asked us. And and they're like, what do you mean? They're like, well, you go across our land, you steal our food or our animals and our harvests, you're attacking our people, blah blah blah. You Dude, we could just make a deal and trade. And they're like, oh, I didn't know. I got an opportunity to get it off my chest, which could be another thing as well, right? A lot of times we want our people want the world to physically represent the emotions that they have, which is dangerous because emotions are very ephemeral. And it's like a road rage, right? Someone cuts you off or whatever, someone flips you the finger, someone rides your bumper and you get mad and you're like, road rage. And it's like, well, what's the outcome of your road rage? Well, I'm upset. Yeah, you are, but you could die, people in your car could die, the people in the other car can die. Innocent people have nothing to do with your road rage die, right? Or worse. There's worse things than death. And I don't know, the child in the back seat becomes paralyzed for the rest of their life. An innocent person rolling their kid across the street in a carriage, you run them over. You cause a 16-car pileup, blah blah blah, right? So, but on the day of the podium, maybe it is an opportunity for people to express their emotions without limitation. They get to scream and yell and say all the things that were just bottled up. And the nobility is to keep talking, keep letting it out, letting it out. A much more peaceful, if not vulgar version of the purge. Hey, on the day of the podium, you get to say whatever you want to say. And everyone's like, "Ooh, I'm glad I got that out." Okay, I'll go back on the farm. And Noble's like, thanks a lot. And like, I still hate you. And the Noble's like, yeah, I get it. But hey, we'll talk about it next year. Leaves. Isn't there sound that does that, TA? Because on home defense, I'm working on a system that basically leaves people with no idea there is a home there, and the hair on the back of their necks will be standing on end, leave them wanting to leave the area and not understand why. Just that the place gives them the heebie-jeebies. Yeah. All right, Lovecraftian Cthulhu home defense system. That's funny. The resident chunk kitty is snoring as loud as a human. Yeah, Red Dice says, so like a purge day, but just for expressing opinions? Could be. Could. Heck, the listen, the day of the podium could also lead to the day of the purge. So let's not say it wouldn't. But yeah, it may be, if we want to get a little bit more arcane, it could be on the day of the podium, maybe ancestors, spirits, ghosts, um, people from the past or the future could come and speak to a thing. It could be, maybe this is the day that those zero level human beings get to step up to the plate and start getting their first 10 experience points. Maybe the public speaking is their own gauntlet or funnel. I'm looking at you, Shadow Dark and Dungeon Crawl Classics, right? Maybe this is their dungeon, right? This is their, like, whew, let me wipe the sweat off my face. Okay, I'm going to speak in front of people, and they're like, and everyone starts to clap after they're like, their knees are shaking and they've got the dry mouth and everything, trying to picture everybody naked. And they get their speech out, and everyone's like, that's awesome, yeah. And they're like, yes, I made first level, sweet. Stuff like triggers to move under leaves, so it sounds like someone walking around, but when you look, there's nothing in the clearing. That's cool. Wave of mutilation. Hey there. Faint sounds of things. I love that. Yeah, airing of the grievances, like in Festivus. Yeah, absolutely. It could be. There are YouTube channels dedicated to this thing. a microphone and a question and an open forum. You get to speak a thing. A question is posed. How do you feel about blah blah blah? There are around the world, there are places where people get to write down notes, a dark secret, a unrequited love, a thing like that, and get to put it into a jar. Maybe somebody else on the day of the podium speaks aloud a thing by an anonymous individual, including the player characters, right? Maybe the player characters write something down or send a private chat to the storyteller, flame tender, narrator, keeper, game master. I'm trying not to say dungeon master. Oh, damn it, I said it. So maybe that person says the thing out loud, a random NPC who's the speaker, but they speak other people's grievances and no one knows who said it, but everybody knows that that exists in the community. That's actually kind of cool. It's like hidden but public now. That would be interesting as well. So it could, maybe someone says like a secret, like, I know there are vampires in our community and no one knows. That's why the people are dying. And someone reads this out loud and everyone looks around like, what the wait, you didn't bring this to our attention any other way? You didn't let everybody know? All of a sudden the PCs are like, why does everybody have a mirror at their front door? Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. You're so funny here, Thomas Anderson. Yeah, silicone rubber cast to look just like thorny Lee vines. Mm-mm-mm. Yes, shopping cart road rage. Yeah, Drew's like, my road rage contains itself only to the supermarket and my shopping cart. Like the person that leaves their shopping cart lengthwise so you can't get around them, and then when you say excuse me, they feel offended. You're just like, yeah, it's all about you. I do that all day too. I'm a letter carrier, and people like, they literally think my postal vehicle is invisible and they get mad that I'm actually stopping to make deliveries, which is literally my job. And I'm like, it's all about you, as I wave to them as they get mad and stuff. And they're all pissed off because they got to wait. We all about you. It's all about you. Go around me. It's all about you. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. You're so funny. Yeah, wave of mutilations like Festivus. And now for the feats of strength. Moving on, right? Hey, it's the CrossFit Games, and everyone's like, wait. So we're just gonna skip over what that person just said. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, what if the what if the day of the podium is to commemorate a riot in history where arguments devolved into a riot, so the people do their best to purge disputes and anger without fistfights. Again, a great idea, right? Maybe people speak these things because they know back in the day, kind of destroyed the community. We set things on fire, and there were a lot of deaths. And today is the day we commemorate that. But when I heathen says, "Oh, I love this idea of people reading other people's secrets. What a cool idea! That would be great." Even hell, you could even have a no-named NPC read to the players the literal plot to your adventure, right? The Lich Queen and the Vampire Lord intend on taking over the countryside, and I know who it is and how they're doing it. And someone wrote that on a piece of paper that so some no name just pulled out of a jar and read, and everyone in the community is like, "What the f? The fuck? What? They're going to take? Wait, who knows this?" And the PCs are like, they look around the crowd and they see like hundreds of people, even thousands, and they're like, "Who the hell? Who knows that?" Maybe it's um the unrequited love of an underling for the was in a threesome with the with the Lich Queen and the Vampire King or something, right? And it's like, yeah, I hate them. Fold arms, pout, write down on note, leave in jar, and then goes, oh shit, I left that in there. And someone read it, and the PC's like, we're first level. We're gonna have to get at least 12th level before we take them on. Yeah, yeah. My concern is that most people drive their shopping carts like they drive their cars, so you know what problems they cause in the streets and the highway. Yeah. See, I'm GPS enabled all day. Plus, I have we have driving classes, and then I drive all day. And my route is in a very high rent district, so most of the cars and driveways and people's private property I maneuver around. Most people have cars that are like in the $150,000-$200,000 range. Lots of AMGs and M series and um, what is it? Flying Serifs and whatever those kind of cars, right? And what is the flying? I think the Flying Serif is the angel that sits on the front of like the Mercedes Benz. I mean, Rolls Royce or Bentley. I think it's the Rolls Royce. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm real careful about those kind of things. So yeah, I drive like an old lady sometimes just because of that. I just hate most people in the grocery store. I avoid aisles that have people. I go somewhere else and return. Me too. I'm that way as well. Plus, I'm not really social that way. I mean, I know how to navigate social things, but yeah. Mm-mm-mm. In the probability broach, an alternate universe had a completely different government that Congress only meets like 7 times in 200 years. And each time someone got shot, completely libertarian, no taxes. What the hell? That's funny. But truish. And it's funny because we talk about all the backbiting and the and we here we talk about a lot of the political talk is like bad, but in the past it was pretty damn crazy. I mean, there were people like beating each other with sticks and stuff and getting shot and like threats and calling everybody a stupid dummy and stuff. Yeah, mama jokes was being made in like political sphere. That's kind of the basis of our country. Like that was a common thing. It's not much different than it was in the past than today. It's just annoying. So I love it. Mutilate wave of mutilations. The Lich Queen of New Orleans, if you want, sure. I can see an anonymous argument taking place over the course of years. Yeah, someone anonymous person leaves a note, and then another anonymous person writes another note calling out that person. And there's just one person who reads the notes, and everyone comes to meet together because they want to know how the argument turns out. They have no idea who's arguing. They just know that the argument keeps going, and they're like, "Last year, so and so said so and so," and like, "Yeah, but this year, I think they got them back with this other one," and they don't know who it is. And come to find out, there's like two immortals that have just been arguing, and they're in the crowd just folding their arms, like, doing the eye, I'm gonna black both your eyes, yeah. There are vampires in our city. What? Next year, there are no vampires. It was perfectly natural sickness. What? Yeah. For the first year, yeah, there are vampires in our city. Murder, murder, backstab, backstab, secret police turning innocent people in. And then the next year, yeah, like the witch trials. And the next year is like, there are no vampires. They're perfectly natural sickness. And everyone laughs at it. They're like, oh, wasn't that funny? Yeah, yeah. My aunt and my two younger brothers died because of that. Wow, that's so silly. Over a note. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, the divergent point was George Washington in their universe was tried and hung as a traitor over taxing the whiskey makers, saying it was a slap in the face considering they just fought. Oh, I like that. They fought the British over the king doing just doing just that and shed so much blood on both sides, and that he himself even participated in this war over the thing he just did to his fellow countrymen. I like, oh, that's an alternate history. I like that kind of stuff. That is sweet. Yeah. Red Dice Diary says it's people who somehow take up all the space in the aisle so you can't get around them. That about that the hell. I'm pretty chunky, but I don't need the whole aisle. That's me too. Yeah, I've got some girth on me, and I'm aware of that. I've got some, so yeah. Yeah. Then the next year, no, it was vampires. Just ask Dr. Johnson. Back and forth. They're like, yeah, well, I can't believe I turned in my own family, and they were killed because they were vampires. And then the next year they're like, no, there really were vampires. And they're like, oh, I was right. Why did I live with guilt this whole time? Year 4, this is Dr. Johnson. No, I never said they were vampires. Oh shit. See, I love this. I love this a lot. This and shopping carts. How the hell did we devolve down to shopping carts? Drew says, I drive just shopping carts, no cars, since I do not have a driver's license. Oh, hilarious. I love it. Wave of mutilation. Wings like, why small wing? You, you mean that, Namor? Wait, get my finger right. There it is. That, you mean that Namor right there? This one? This Namor? uh, Drew says, but bringing up issues on the day of the podium anonymously is a great way to make the whole community paranoid, no matter if it's true or not. Absolutely. And in a weird way, it could be a recruiting tool. Like maybe there are people who just never wanted to say the thing. Someone says it, and it sparks a thing. I need to pull something out of my rectum. Okay. Someone says like a cult recruitment, right? Hey, what's a good comment? Someone writes on a note, you know, if we if we attune, we partner with the snake god, our community will never be in danger from the things in the swamp. Now, everyone knows you don't really want to go with the evil snake thing in the swamp, but if we make a treaty with them, we'll be safe, right? Your children will be safe. And someone says it out loud. And now people are thinking, yeah, you know what? I mean, it sounds terrible to want to even bargain with the snake people in the swamp, but you know, I mean, I would do it just to keep my family safe. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's no cult leader. It's just a person who put this out there, who just said, "Hey, why don't we consider this? No one wants to say it, you know, it's the we don't negotiate with terrorists idea. Someone says it, puts it out there. Well, why don't we just make a deal? Why don't we talk to them? Why don't we invite them to the table?" And it's like, ooh, shit. You know, why don't we invite the goblinoid hordes and talk to them? And the noble knight is like, who said that? Who said that? We give no ground to them. And then it makes the noble knight look crazy. And the people are like, well, maybe we should talk to him. I mean, I know bugbears are in the choking, but it kind of excites me. So maybe take it. Yeah. Let the war of passive aggressiveness begin. I love it. Oh man, I got +7 passive aggressive. Let me roll the dice. I do nothing, but I also resist you making me do anything. Oh, I critted on that one. Okay, let me grab the dice. Bucket of dice. You can't make me do anything, and I refuse. Oh man, Kim's Convenience. I haven't seen that show, but I know people love it. Had an episode where two women argued over the note box in the church. Yes, that's a very common thing. Someone writes a note, drop it in a box in the church, talking about the institution, and then people argue over who said it and why, and bringing up someone's fallibility or a mistake, or the king has no clothes. Someone brings up something that everybody knows. The recent House of the Dragon is a perfect example of this, where the king is like, your daughter's shonking the city guard, and not really has the blood of the Targaryens and blah blah blah. And everyone's just like, no, no, no. And they're like, dude, your daughter's kids, they have black hair, not the white hair Targaryens, and they don't look mixed at all. He looks literally like a city guard. Literally. Which, when the show started, everyone was just like, why do they make the Targaryens black? They don't have black people here, blah, blah, blah. And it makes perfect sense to do that casting. They literally, not stereotype, but they played on our own stereotypes and expectations, so that when we visually saw it, we were like, oh, it makes perfect sense why they did it the way they did. Some would say that in the book it didn't look that way, but I appreciated the fact that they like, oh no, we specifically cast black actors, so there was no way you would mistake one for the other. Yeah. Today, I'm a vampire overlord. Today on Dr. Phil. I love it. I just see the Dr. Phil leaning close on those little those stools that stool chairs that they wear. Oh man. When I hear this is I'm one of those people who will occasionally put other people's stray carts in the corral. I hate people who just leave their shopping carts in the middle of a parking lot. God, I'm one of those people too. I put mine back all the time. I'll walk mine back from the car all the way back to the corral at the front of the store if there isn't one that happens to be in the parking lot that's not full or something. Yeah, I do that too. I do that too. It annoys me too. Shopping carts are the indication of civilization. Shit, we need to do a 9-point alignment, lawful, neutral, chaotic, good, and evil shopping cart. What do you do with the shopping cart? Like, would chaotic evil be turning the shopping cart upside down and leaving it in a parking spot? And lawful good would be rolling it all the way back and taking everybody else's cart back? Better than the F word. Drew says, getting to the end, I have to say again, Carthago delenda est. I don't know what that means. Damn it, I forgot. Hey, Shice. Gotta bounce. Everybody take it easy. I'm taking too much of your time. Yeah. Day of the shopping cart. Shit. Yeah, pure evil. Chaotic neutral to shopping cart jousting. Oh, that's hilarious. Ride in the cart. Yeah. Everyone's like, damn it. Stop doing that. Hilarious. Maybe neutral evil takes their hand and like they lick their hand and then touch all the shopping cart handles because they're just evil. Lawful evil goes to an announcement and starts calling people out who don't put their shopping carts back. So Shai says, okay, I can tell this is going to be a good one. I just missed. Yeah. Drew says, and Carthage has to be destroyed. Lawful neutral could be protesting price gouging. Yep. Or shafting employees by taking your carts all the way to the extreme edge of the lot and leaving it on the grass so the store has to pay. Holy shit. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Oh my God. I have to, you know what? You know what? This is so ridiculous. We have to do it. It's still not in the way of cars, so it won't damage someone's car. That's true. It has to. Well, no, lawful neutral. They don't probably want the damage, but yeah. Extra for the wages or the time to get it by the employees. Wow, an employee has such a long walk to get it, they can sneak a smoke break or something. Shit. Oh my God. I love it, guys. I can't. This is a whole nother hour and a half on the shopping cart thing. I love it. I love this so much. We have to do something like this. We have to, because this is hilarious. It makes so much sense too. It makes so much sense. Yeah, the shopping cart 9-point alignment tree, and the stories that it brings. Back in my day, the neutral goods, the chaotic evils, our shopping carts. Damn it! I was so good. I took the shopping cart with the wiggly wheel. A wiggly wheel. Ah. Anyway, guys, have a great one. We got to get out of here, man. Day of the shopping cart. Shopping carts had a couple of big walks because of them. Variable death march one time. Yeah, trying to get the shopping cart. You can be chaotic and still bring back the shopping cart. Yeah, true. Unless you, yeah. What would true neutral do though? Bring it halfway to the corral? Oh no. They're like, listen, I got halfway there. Somebody else can do the rest. Oh shit. TA says I've actually taken 3-in-1 oil with me to oil the wheels and the carts that are so noisy it makes your ears hurt. Damn, if you ain't a neutral good bastard, damn. Wow. Yeah, I've pulled broken shopping carts and pushed them aside so nobody else takes the broken shopping cart. I've done things like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's something about the shop. Yeah, neutral would be to push yours into other people's that were left out and then push it halfway there. So you cleaning up the random shopping carts, but taking them halfway there. Hey man, I'm just trying. Look. I cleaned up half the shopping carts in the lot. That's it, and I left them in the middle of the parking lot. So whatever. Oh shit! Yeah, yeah, he sure is. I was thinking the same thing. Yes, TA is a paladin. Sure is. Stacking yours with theirs, but not pushing them all the way. Oh, oh no, dead man. Get Mary Morgan and Brett Dasovic and interview them about shopping carts. Mary is notorious for not returning carts. Oh, evil, brewing evil. You says you could argue it's in your own cynical interest to bring back the shopping cart. Hence, you could be chaotic neutral or something. True. Or you bring back the carts, but you let everybody know it. And there's lawful evil. I'm bringing back your fucking shopping carts. That's something you should do. Anyway, guys, come on. I got to get out of here. But you guys have a great one. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time here. Oh, I really appreciate it. Have a great day. If you've gotten here this far, then you need to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the asteroid belt for Obsidian Star. I'm still working on which system I'm going to use. I pretty have it pretty much down now, but I think I know which system I'm going to use. Yeah, I'm about to get lawful evil with that shit. Yeah. Thanks, Heathen. And thank you. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for even being here. Shit, you guys. Here, anybody here in the States that gets up for this show, warriors, man, warriors. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for this day on the day of the podium. We had some fun. I told you we can just pick a word because I honestly wasn't sure how deep we would get into this, but I love it. We devolved into alignment shopping cart usage. I love it. Guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace.